Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I am your favorite, hopefully, silly little goose, bookish goose. And today I'm going to go over how I personally rate a book. So as most of you have probably come across, especially on Goodreads, maybe on Storygraph if you look at the reviews, a 5-star scale is not equal among all readers. And so for today, I am planning on walking you through what a 5-star scale means to me so you can better interpret my reviews and my opinions on the book so that it's a little bit more meaningful for you and so that you also kind of understand better where I'm coming from when I say this is a 5-star book. So when I am rating and reviewing my books, I use Storygraph. I was never a big fan of Goodreads. I found Storygraph. Mostly I love it because of the pretty graphs, but overall it's very much a nice app. I would suggest you looking into it. And on Storygraph you can go in quarter stars, which is another feature that I really enjoy. For the first section, I will cover 5 to 4, and I will probably go by quarter stars for that one because that's where I see the most variation. So I am a vibe reader. I don't always look at a book and say, are you going to win the Booker's Prize or the Nobel Peace Prize in Literature? Not always what I'm there to read for. Sometimes I am. Sometimes I am looking for a perfectly well-written manuscript. But a lot of times I'm just looking for a book I can sit down and read and enjoy. So for me, a 5-star means simply I had an absolute blast reading it. This will include a wide range of books. There are some books that I just think were well written, the world building was amazing, the character development was great, I found it super immersive, and then there's other books where a Roomba becomes a god, but I just loved the adventure. I was there for the ride. So that will also earn a 5-star for me. I will try in my reviews to tell you whether it's more of a vibes with super great read or if it was this is just an amazingly well written book. But that is a 5-star book for me. It's just, I had so much fun reading it. Next we have 4.75 stars. That's just a little bit past the 5. And for these books, they're basically a 5. You might read them and be like, Amber, I don't know what you're talking about. This is the best book ever. But for me, there's just one little detail I could not get past criticizing. It could be something very simple as I just didn't appreciate this character development. It could be something like I was not into the world building, or there's this annoying thing that just keeps coming up that I couldn't move past. They're gonna be really enjoyable books. But for me personally, I just found a flaw I couldn't forgive, and with that flaw comes a little bit of a deduction. Still very solid books. Next are the 4.5 stars. So for a lot of good readers, this will be where you first start your next drop down. For me, these are very enjoyable, but there's gonna be a but, and I can't overlook the but quite as much as I can for a 4.75. So this will be more tangible differences. So I just didn't think the writing was good. I didn't like a character. I just really thought this character arc was unbelievable. Stuff like that that didn't ruin the book. Didn't make it unenjoyable. But I do have a bigger gripe than I would with a 7.5 star rating. Last on the quarter stars that we will cover is the 4.25 star rating. These books are still what I would consider very good, but they're just a little bit past very good. So there's something that makes it memorable, very good. I would really recommend it, but when I recommend it to you, I might go on for a couple minutes about some caveats that I have. Still very good, but no longer really in that great range that we get to the 5 to the 4.5 range. Next, we have 4-star books, which is where I would kind of say these are very good. I found them really enjoyable, but they're not going to be on my top 10 list. They're not going to be on my top 25 list. Like, will I recommend them to you? if that's just your genre and your fave, or if I think it's just really in your vibe for the moment, yes, I will recommend these books to you. But I'm not going to go up to everyone and say, oh my gosh, you should read these. They were books I really enjoyed, I thought were well written, I thought had good characters. There's just a little bit more flaws, or they just didn't quite click with me. I'm a vibe reader, like I said. So if a book doesn't click with me, but I see it's a good book, it'll probably get a 4-star rating. So going by a half star next, we are at 3.5 stars. These books are decent. You know, I'm probably going to reread them and I'm probably going to enjoy it. But I'm not going to rave about them anymore. I'm not going to be like, oh my gosh, read this. You're going to love it. That's just not where they're at for me. They're decent. They're enjoyable. They're a fun time. They're a good time. But there are definitely arguably better books for your time if you're looking for that kind of thing. The last of the rankings you'll most commonly see is the 3-star ranking. This is where I typically cut off a book. If it gets below this, I don't usually finish it or something like that. So 3 stars for me are meh. They're okay. They're readable. I kind of enjoyed it. They might be your cup of tea. I hope you like them better. But for me, they're not memorable. They weren't the most enjoyable. There was something majorly wrong. And I just wasn't vibing with that book. So that will easily get a book a 3-star ranking for me. If I just don't find it to be that great, but it's not unreadable. To continue down the rest of the scale, we are going to take a quick break at 3 to talk about why you're mostly going to see books that are 3 and higher. Firstly, I think I'm pretty good at knowing what I want to read. Most books, I would say over 90% of all books that I read, I enjoy to some extent. So that's going to move my scale a little bit towards the really good books. Secondly, is I personally am a firm believer in not finishing a book if you do not enjoy it. I will DNF a book. I try to get to 100 pages, but I will DNF a book before that. If I'm just really not enjoying it, if I'm really not vibing with it, if I am just pulling teeth to read it, I will usually drop it. The reason why I have this opinion is there are so many books in the world. I mean, I have books behind me. I have books around the wall. There are books in your library. You can go to a bookstore. There are just so many books in the world that I don't see a point in wasting my time reading a book I'm just not enjoying. Willow cameo. If I'm not enjoying a book, why am I reading it? There's a lot of books I do like. I can go reread books if I need a book to enjoy. I just don't see a need in reading something I don't enjoy. So unless I need to read that book for something, I will typically drop it before I read a 2-star book. That's just my personal preference. You can do what you want to do. I know some people who, when they start a book, they have to finish it. I feel bad for them because I know they're not having a fun time, but, you know, to each their own. Read how you want to read. So with that in mind, I will cover the last 2-star ratings real fast. 2 stars. Not great. They could be worse, I guess. There is a 1 star. So there's something small that's somewhat redeemable. That's how you get to a 2-star. Is I don't like the book. I didn't enjoy reading the book. I didn't really want to read the book, or something happened in the book, but it's got something that's redeemable. I can at least make an argument for something being good. Versus if we move to a 1 star and below, there's nothing. I didn't like it. I hated it. I couldn't really find anything to say nice about it, so I'm just not going to really say anything at all, and you get a 1 star or below. So that is how I do my 5-star ratings. I hope that this video was helpful for you, and hopefully you're going to join me on my journey this year as I continue to read and rate books. Thanks. Have a great day. DFTPA.